Hello, welcome to my vlog. I'm Alex Dimitrov and today I'm going to tell you about one small village called Borica, situated in the west central part of Bulgaria. Before I start with explaining you the issue, first I'm going to give you some background information about Borica. The Borica catchment is relatively close to the capital city of Sofia and to one of the major highways in the country. However, the region is quite remote and seems hidden within the numerous valleys and hills of the Balkan Mountains range. The climate in Borica is temperate continental, with 4 very well distinguished seasons, but due to the rising temperatures in the last decades, the region shows characteristics of Mediterranean-like climate, with shorter and warmer autumns and winters and prolonged spring and summer seasons. The land use in the area I'm investigating is mainly for agriculture and cattle breeding, but it has been used for recreation activities such as hiking, for example. Furthermore, the soil there is primarily silty, with some percentage of clay. It is naturally very rich in nutrients and it can store a fair amount of water through the whole year. Combined with the fact that the region also receives a lot of sunlight annually, this is why lavender and even cannabis is grown there. Historically, the region has been fairly poor. It lacks advanced infrastructure such as roads and buildings, and also not all of the farmers have the required machinery to manage their land appropriately. However, during the last years, more and more investors have been coming to the region as they see the potential it hides. Borica is naturally very clean, and bioagriculture such as the bio-lavender business, which has been finding its place there during the last few years, are flourishing. Also, as mentioned, cattle breeding such as herds of buffaloes and goats have been popular among the local farmers as well. Now, it's time to move on to my investigation in this specific area. The topic of my case study is why does waterlogging occur in the higher elevated farm fields and how does it affect land and crop management there? The research area itself can be divided in 2 main parts. The first one is the valley, where the grasslands and the village's reservoir are. The other one is the agricultural lavender fields, which are situated on a higher elevated hill. Elevation in my research is a crucial factor because the grasslands are around 820 to 25 meters above sea level, whereas the lavender fields are much higher, around 860 meters. However, the affected by waterlogging land is the one that is higher. And why is that? This is what we are going to discuss in this vlog.
For our first location, we have one of the few facilities in the region. It is the pumping station situated in the center of the valley at one of the lowest points and very close to the reservoir. The pumping station provides the residents of Borica with tap water, and luckily I had the chance to interview the hydrologist who maintains the facility. From his knowledge, the water table in the area around the facility fluctuates annually from 3 to 5 meters. Moreover, from the interview with him, I found out that the pumping station has been upgraded with a new deeper drilling just around a month ago. The drilling is 30 meters deep, and from the video, as you could see, the facility was left to purify the extracted water by pumping out dirty water first. Following the streamline, we end up at the village's reservoir, where all of the catchment's water goes. The reservoir itself is not a very big one, but it has water in it all year around, as it has a continuous supply from the nearby creeks in the catchment. These observations give us a picture of how well naturally irrigated this mountainous region is. Now, it's time to go to the next location, a place for which the local villagers have been telling legends for generations. Even though now you can see a greenhouse and a local farmer plowing part of the agricultural fields, more than 150 years ago, somewhere around this particular place, a mineral water spring was found. However, during these times, the Bulgarians were under Ottoman rule. Afraid that the Turkish would find the spring and settle there, the locals decided to clog it using wool and all other materials. Hundreds of years afterwards, the water cannot be stopped and still finds ways to escape on the surface. Now, between the two fields, there is a small creek that would not dry up even in the hottest months. The abundance of water is very good for the grasslands and results in rich flora. However, this could be very inconvenient for the farmers in the region, who have to wait till their land is dry enough in order to plow it and prepare it for their crops. With that in mind, we are about to go to the most affected part of the region, the lavender fields on the hill. These lavender fields are around 860 to 870 meters above sea level. They are a special variety that is rare in Bulgaria, and even though the crop has been growing fine for most of the time, at certain locations in the field, an unusual swamp-like vegetation with no lavender could be seen. This would seem strange at first. So, together with the landowner, who is one of the stakeholders in the area, I proceeded to dig a few pits and compare the results from the waterlogged and the dry parts of the same field. First, we started by digging a hole in the drier part where the lavender crops were unaffected. Our findings were that the soil was very silty with a top layer of rich in nutrients a horizon. The soil was well drained and there was abundance of boulders in it, which made digging deeper very challenging and exhausting. The water table could not be found easily, which could be explained by the good infiltration capacity of the silt and the cracks between the numerous boulders which would drain the field very easily. However, it was time to dig a hole in one of the affected wet spots in the area. Even though this spot was just a few meters away from the unaffected zone, we didn't even have to dig to see how much wetter the soil was. But why? After we started digging, the first obvious difference was that the soil was grayish, with an organic horizon on top, but an eluviated horizon right after it. This was a very different finding than the one just some meters away. Moreover, there were a lot of orange mottles indicating the dissolved iron in the soil, which would be resulted from the fluctuations of the water table, which in these wet areas was obviously much higher throughout the whole year. Furthermore, I would also measure the pH of the soil in the lavender fields, which was in the margin between 6 and 6.5, so the soil was only slightly acidic. Also, I would measure the moisture content, and amazingly, the waterlogged areas on the hill would give values of around 5, which was the same as the grasslands and twice wetter than the unaffected part of the lavender fields. There was obviously an issue, an anomaly, but how complex was it? From my findings, I can conclude that the complexity of the issue lies in that due to the abundance of boulders in the field, there is a compacted, in some places almost impermeable layer, which reduces the infiltration capacity and increases the water content in the topsoil. Combined with this, the region, as I found, is rich in creeks, and even the locals tell legends of a clogged water spring, so it wouldn't be strange that at some locations on the hill there is a seepage of water. In conclusion, I would say that after talking with the hydrologist, a possible solution may already be in process. The deeper drilling of the upgraded pumping station will gradually decrease the level of the water table in the valley, which would mean that more water will be flowing out from the hill into the valley and a portion of the waterlogged locations will eventually dry up. Now, my vlog has come to an end. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new. Bye bye.